So, Mark Kramer and I have been talking for 4 hours? No, a long time.
Well, yeah.
A good, wonderful long time.
Yeah.
And he's mentioned a number of quotes and literary references that go over my head. So I am now going to give Mark Kramer the opportunity to say the old fairy quote, the one about magic and technology, and there was another one in between, a couple.
Yeah.
Just simply say the quotes so that I can cut this together later at a later date, and then you have to tell my mother, Nancy Kirby, eye to eye as if she was sitting here, what character am I in some story that she's read?
I see.
Please.
Okay. So the first question was regarding Edmund Spenser's The Fairy Queen and the secondary realm. And my question was, does the next generation of the web represent the medium to which one can enter the secondary realm?
And what was the quote?
The quote from Arthur C. Clarke is that a sufficiently advanced level of technology is indistinguishable from magic. Now, when I was a kid, for me, that magic was watching a television program from the moon.
Okay, wait. But that's not actually the quote I meant.
Okay,
There was a quote when we first met where I said something about decentralizing insurance companies, and that hit a nerve with you. And you then said something about the old, like the fairy queen.
The Fairy Queen is Edmund Spenser's epic poem of high fantasy.
So the magic quote and the reference earlier in the conversation are actually the same Edmund Spenser, 17th century something or other.
Well, no, the quote, the Edwin Spenser, and then the quote was Arthur C. Clarke later in the conversation. And the one when I found you here was the amplification of the eternal present is the technology of desire. And should I tell you where it's from?
Yes, please.
It's a song lyric written by Chris Butler and performed by a group called the Waitresses in 1980, I think.
And what about Cindy XR and My Life led you to think that? Like, what was the think of that?
Because I think that at what you were explaining to me is how we live in the eternal present. There is no past, there is no future, there is simply the eternal present. And the past you cannot alter, and the future you cannot remember. Immanuel Kant.
Of course, I knew that one.
Okay.
I didn't. But I understood your thought process. I think you're wrong about that being connected to the metaverse, but go on. But that's because you don't own any computational devices.
Any devices. No, right. I own a slide rule. That's a computational device.
Fair point. Fair point. I stand corrected. Do you use your slide rule a lot?
Sometimes, yeah. Okay. When I have to manipulate a lot of numbers.
All right. About as often as you play your bass.
Yeah.
Okay, so go on. So you were thinking about
and I was thinking how it was how what you're attempting to do in the metaverse is an amplification of the eternal present, and then I just remembered that lyric.
Right. And then there was another point in the conversation where we tried to determine what was such advanced technology that it would seem like magic. And I'm gonna just conjure up the avatar of your sister. Yeah. So what do you think of now that I know that you don't?
When I was a kid at age 8, it was seeing a television program from the moon.
Yeah. But just
Today, I think it's being able to 3D print organic material.
Right, like an ear.
An ear,
I've seen that.
or,
Yeah. I've done that.
or,
I mean, not done it, but yeah.
But
Agreed.
using
And Gina, just to cover, Gina Kramer. No, does she? Anyway, we appreciate that you refuse to appear on camera. We respect your position as a musician and a therapist, and also Mark's sister. And we recognize in this particular aspect of the conversation that you made a great point, which was that the iPhone is something that basically is such advanced technology that it seems like magic. But because I know how it's made and I know how the development works in the app stores and all that stuff, don't see it as magic. So that's slightly interesting. And now to end this amazing conversation with a couple really cool human beings that I met at the Hilton, I am going to make Mark Kramer talk to my mother.
Well,
Nance?
outside of Odysseus and the characters that he interacts with, like Polyphemus and Circe and Penelope, all of the other male characters end up getting eaten by Scylla or turned into pigs by Circe, or getting eaten by Polyphemus.
That sounds fantastic for the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Yeah. But so maybe I'm not male.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm cis male, but I could be re-identifying, right? We understand that enough.
Okay.
You have
Circe was an agent of change.
What makes you think I have to be a guy? You said.
I see you as I see you now.
Right. But I'm in the metaverse. I'm genderless.
Okay.
Cindy, actually, I told you, Cindy's an acronym for seamless integrated dynamics, but the characterization that Cindy embodies is actually a human genderless bot.
Okay.
So, like, Cindy's YouTube channel, our YouTube channel, will launch a collaboration show. Have you ever heard of The Medical Futurist?
No.
He's this amazing, amazing guy, of course, driven by some big pharma, sponsored by some big pharma company, but basically this sort of Denmark, Netherlands, Swedish dude who, just has a YouTube channel that's amazing because he's just talking about, like, the future, the medical future, like, in a way. So anyway, I want to steal his idea and talk about, like, the predictive analytics of collaboration for everything that we do, like teams at work, like building buildings and, sustainable weight loss based on team play. Parent alienation I told you the story about my children, right?
Right.
I want to use the metaverse to keep families together when they just don't feel like living in the same house.
Okay.
So hang on one second. My mom's calling. She's watching this live, and she's like, I see you're with a really smart guy who reads a book club more than you do, Charles. Can you please just ask him to parallel you to a book that I've read? Because I'm Nancy. I'm 78 years old. I live in Princeton. I'm single and, very happy and read a lot. And yet my son's new career confuses me. Can you help me?
Think of him not as a character, but as a premise. Consider the book To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee.
I've seen that play.
And the overriding theme of that book is how the journey of the gentle thread of grace and dignity that weaves its way through the human tapestry will always make a difference, even though that is represented by multiple characters in the book, whether it's Atticus or Scout or Boo or even Bob Ewell.
So like you said about Terrell, I'm not buying a volcano or playing with light. I'm just moving a rock up a hill and waiting until it just starts rolling down the other side by itself.
Now you're channeling Camus in the myth of Sisyphus.
Right. But it's not that but often that whole idea of, burning up as he approaches the sun or whatever that is, I feel that is often said to entrepreneurs and founders under the auspice of like, this is really hard, whatever. But like what you just said made me feel like To Kill a Mockingbird is a thing, it's an object, it's a device, but it's also time. So there's a resistance factor, whatever that might be. It's not going to be gravity because it's the metaverse. So, though my sustainable weight loss, like if that's the sustainable development goal, as far as the UN defines them for the next, for 2030, okay, or sustainable cities or something like that. Gravity's relevant, you know what I mean? Like, so the metaverse includes, in my book at least, what we call FR, physical reality. So if there's virtual reality, VR, and there's augmented reality, AR, then there has to be PR, physical reality. But PR is taken by public relations, so you can't be PR. So we call it Cindy FR. So we're seamlessly integrating the dynamics of physical reality with virtual reality by using augmented reality.
Well, unfortunately, when people say CRT, I think cathode ray tube because I have an old television.
Right. But what do they really mean?
Combat results table, which is what they used for war simulations from the Rand Corporation. Yes, I can't think of another possible meaning for those three initials.
Do you think you helped my mom?
I don't know, because I didn't identify a character.
But maybe it's not.
Maybe you're trying to be Samson Shalito from A Fine Man.
No. Stop you right there. I am not trying to be anything.
Okay.
I am being.
Okay.
So it's an honor to be called a movement, and it's probably just kind of too simple to be called a character. You just were talking about things in the Odyssey and the Iliad, and that made me think about my mom, and thinking, oh my God, this guy who I met at the Hilton tonight could offer my mom a literary parallel. Yeah. But what I think what's happened to you is that the metaverse is so questionable from its boundary. There is no precedent of what we're creating. So there is no way to describe what Ruben Steiger and Charles Kirby and all of the other metaverse, sort of Second Life kind of digital twin, Dan Mapes and Orion Barr and all of us that are building this thing are building. Whoever they are, everybody, and I didn't even name any of the women, which is embarrassing. But Linda Ricci you know what I mean? Like, Nene Tan and Nicole Bradford and Joanna Popper. We are building something that's similar to the beginning of the cotton gin and the combustible engine, and so it is indescribable by previous things. I just thought my 80-year-old mother might learn something from you, Mark, but obviously you failed.
Ignatius Reilly.
Who is Ignatius Reilly?
He's a character from a book called The Confederacy of Dunces by John Kennedy Toole.
You think my mom's read it?
I'll bet you $1 she's read it.
I don't have $1, so.
I have $1, but I really can't lose it.
It's been a pleasure. No, my God, thank you. And you're welcome.
Yeah.
Mark Kramer, everybody. Roseville, California. Upwards and onwards to the right, my friend.